Hello everybody, how are you? Happy Wednesday. Hope you are really well, and whether you're watching this live or on replay, welcome to the fifth part of our read along for the Domain Energetics book, Our World, What Comes Next. So we've got one chapter left to read as a continuation on from last week in the Domain in Your Day-to-Day section. And then we're going to be reading through Further Spectacular, that section. And then we may have time to start a little bit of the Believe in Magic section. So we just invite you to get really comfortable, cozy on down and enjoy. And we're just going to start with this quote here. Domain will change the way we live. Never have we been more ready than we are now. So, Domain for fun. Domain can also be used in a very fun way. Consider asking Domain to help heighten feelings and experiences for you personally. This is something that Domain can absolutely be used for if it is your truth, and this is so fun to play with. And the thing is, the more that you work with Domain, the more its magic can surprise you and naturally occur for you. I have had an example of this recently. I experienced a Domain take-on. It was the first time that this had happened for me. What is a Domain take-on? It's where you can naturally and often unexpectedly feel Domain and Myriad flowing to you to support you as you energetically take on what they have to offer, which will only ever be something that is perfect and right for you in the moment. This is very loving and occurs through the incredible Domain circle of love. My first experience of this myself recently was when I was meditating. I was doing a Buddhist mindfulness of breathing meditation, and I could feel that Myriad was showing me a Buddhist temple in Malaysia. I could energetically feel the warmth of the more humid climate, the warmth of the sun lowering in the sky. I could almost touch and feel the floor beneath me and the temple walls around me. I could sense the light coming into the temple, but then I felt Domain lovingly flowing me sequencing from Buddhists there, and even Buddha himself from when he was alive on this earth to support me. Within me, I could feel their calm, their beauty and their peace. It was as Domain does, taking all of the relevant energy sequencing and recreating it within me in that moment. And all I needed to do was allow this take-on to occur, as it heightened and amplified everything for me in that moment to enrich the meditation and my experience of it by drawing sequencing from other places, people and times. Even as I type this and explain this, I'm being connected to the utter wonder and magnificence of this. I think sometimes, just on the very rare occasion, because I use Domain all of the time, I can overlook the incredibleness of what it does. But when you think about what I have just described and how I hadn't even consciously asked that of Domain, the sheer love of it doing that in the very moment is just such a beautiful, supportive and loving thing. And everyone can experience the same love from Domain also. As I was doing and experiencing this take-on during my meditation, I was then shown that such Domain take-ons can occur for other occasions and events too, such as heightening joy and fun at a gathering or party, such as honing focus in the workspace, such as feeling joy as you are working out. These Domain take-ons are magical, and although you can of course request them, to have them take place unexpectedly because Domain loves you so is such a loving thing to experience, and another generous facet of this incredible energy holding to heighten our lives here on Earth. And you should know that these take-ons work very much with the energy of magic also, of course. And so as you become more and more experienced with Domain and Myriad, you can begin to expect these. So look out for them. They could occur in a moment that is so beautiful and simple, such as you sitting on the sofa in front of the TV watching a film or show. You might feel Domain and Myriad come in and naturally and lovingly enhance that moment and experience for you. And it will always and only ever do so if it is wanted by you. It will never inflict anything that is not. Domain is energetically smart in this way and will always work with the truth of what your energy wants, and so you can feel very assured and safe in this. And these domain take-ons will only occur as and when you are energetically ready, not before. They are a part of your own evolution with domain, and so as they start to occur for you, notice and acknowledge them. They are another wondrous aspect of domain for you to revel in. There is nothing like sprinkling a little or a lot of magic into what we so often perceive as the everyday ordinary. Let domain delight you through its take-ons. Okay, so I believe that every human has a finite number of heartbeats. I don't intend to waste any of mine. So that is a quote from Neil Armstrong, who is connected to the domain, the amazing domain non-physical team. So it felt right to have a quote from him in the book as well. Okay, so starting the further spectacular section. This is really wondrous. So what we would say as we're doing the live read along is just let your energy absorb what we're reading, because some of it is potentially quite mind stretching in a really beautiful way, but it is very like wow. And so some of you as you may listen to this may feel like, oh my goodness, how on earth did she receive that, or how on earth does that work? Just try and feel the truth rather than trying to work it all out necessarily. But some of you will also be really drawn to some of these things that we're talking about and actually want to go on and explore them further as a part of our loving domain community and movement. So however you feel about certain things that we're reading, if it's feeling a bit too big, just let your energy kind of absorb absorb the truth of what we're saying. And for those of you that are really excited, you may want to explore these kind of things further, because as we've said, this book is an introduction to domain. A high level introduction to help sort of open things up and get you started on your journey with it. But there's so much more that can be explored, and maybe some of you listening to this will explore some of these areas further. So the point of creation. So again, I'm going to be sharing what I've written in this book, which are my first-hand experiences, which are just fascinating. Okay, so the point of creation. What was fascinating to witness one time as I was sat quietly and peacefully receiving from domain was beautiful imagery and understanding, albeit at a high level, of how something is created via domain from non-physical into physical. You see, in order for something to exist physically, it must have a non-physical makeup and phase first. The non-physical sequence and setup must take place and be in existence before the physical sequencing and output ensues, and the physical creation materializes. But domain wanted to show me the exact moment when non-physical sequencing then emerges and gets pushed through to physical. What I saw was breathtaking. Domain started by taking me to its very center and core. What I was shown was, at the heart of domain, it creates itself. So think of the heart of domain as an immeasurably and unquantifiably potent and vibrant place where direct creation can occur. And what we mean by this is the center of domain can birth creation right there. So rather than how we humans use domain on Earth, which is to gather energy sequencing and recreate here on Earth, instead, at the very centre of domain, immediate and direct creation is happening all of the time. This can be rather mind-blowing and mind-boggling to try and imagine, but it is so. To find the right words to articulate and explain the sheer immensity, magnitude and volume of this centre of domain creation is almost impossible, because it is creation unlike anything that we have traditionally come to know and understand to date. The centre of domain is the richest creation point and has the most intense energy and exchange in a truly phenomenal way. When I was first taken to this part of domain, energetically, of course, it was so potent that I felt quite nauseous. It was a part of domain that I had to be exposed to at the right time when my energy was big enough to see it and actually handle and hold it. Rest assured that domain will never bring you anything that is too big for you or too difficult for you to energetically hold. It will always only ever bring you what you are ready for, as it is energetically smart, like we have already described. As I tuned to this centre part of domain, I understood that my own energy was taking lots of sequencing from it myself also to wondrously add to my own creational potency via domain as a physical human on Earth. Another wow moment. This is something that too will become possible for others who work with domain in the future once their energy has expanded enough. This central creation point of domain is known as the enchilance of creation. Enchilance is at the nebulous centre of domain, and this part of domain has been used directly to create so much in non-physical and our multiverses, including worlds. Part of what is triggered from this part of domain is the emergence from non-physical into physical. The non-physical essence starts to move into a molten type gas that then moves into a phase of condensing into a molten type liquid, and then that moves and then builds into a physical form, object or result, such as a plant or nature object or something physical on another planet, in our multiverse, and so on. Light and space are leveraged also in this process, although we don't need to go into the complexities of this here. This is very much a process for new prototype form, such as the first seed, a new seed or a new plant, and so on, for there is always new that is lined up to come at the right time across all that is. This can also feel quite big to get our heads around, but nothing comes from nowhere, and this process sits behind something non-physical becoming physical. It is part of the magic of all that is. More will be spoken about this at Sarah Morgan Global if it's asked for. This type of creation is bespoke to life on planets across our multiverses, and so, as often speculated over and heavily debated, domain has showed me on many occasions that it is not just Earth that is home to nature and life. Again, this is a wonderfully exploratory topic, an area that we can choose to learn and understand more about as we continue to interact with domain. To see this intrinsic detail from domain was poignant, and the point of creation might well be something we explore more further down the line as we continue to deepen our work with domain. But for now, this deeply leading edge insight and understanding was fascinating to experience and witness, and again showcases the enormity of domain and what this truly remarkable energy holding does. Domain will always show us things at the right time and in perfect order. Again, if this angle and aspect of domain excites you, come and join us. We want and need you. I can't learn and understand every single aspect of domain at every intricate level myself. I am only one person, so come. It can absolutely be you that may choose to help to take forward this particular understanding further. Because you see, there are so many facets of domain, there is so much that it can do, that it will take more than just me to truly maximise it. Areas and aspects of domain such as these might well be things that you yourself may want to energetically train in and take forward as you work with us at Sarah Morgan Global to deeply energise all potential of domain energetics. It takes a village, the quote, "It takes a village," is true for domain, and it is also wanted. So let's come together and explore and deepen. Feel the wonder. Okay, Myriad inside Earth, another fascinating chapter and fascinating to learn about from domain. So as well as Myriad energetically reaching everywhere around and beyond our Earth, as we detailed in chapter 3, it also penetrates right deep into the whole of Earth's makeup and structure from crust to core. Myriad energy within Earth in this way is highly concentrated, whereas outside of Earth's crust it appears as lighter and less dense in the mind's eye. Myriad is concentrated in this way inside of Earth to literally keep it alive and living. Earth's inside is active very much physically, but also energetically. The highly concentrated Myriad energetic network within Earth's makeup connects Earth's aspects fully. The North Pole can directly connect to the South Pole, and so on via the Myriad system internally. The internal Myriad web within Earth is potent in new, in magic, and in creation, very much living and breathing. Myriad very much the heartbeat to all of this. Myriad from within Earth's structure gives life to Earth. It literally plays a critical role in keeping it energised and alive. This was an epic moment when I was shown this and came to understand it, because Myriad cannot yet be detected by physical scanners or such like readers and measurers yet, but energetically it is there and it is fundamental to Earth's ongoing life and living. Wow. It is so leading edge for us to be brought to this knowledge to coincide with our human advancement at this time. So we suggest that you might do well to think of Myriad like the intrinsic veins of Earth, circulating imperative energy that is needed to where it is needed to keep it existing and going. As you choose to work with domain, and as you practice seeing Sali more and more as you work on increasing your vibration and your own receiving skills, we can show you how, you will likely start to see this also in your mind's eye. But this incredible Myriad network inside of Earth does more too. It connects right out to other places and planets across our universe and multiverses. It connects right back to their points of creation, as so too it connects them to our Earth center point of creation. So there is an energetic share and exchange that occurs in a loving way designed purely for the expansion of all that is. In a similar way to Myriad connecting the north and the south of our planet from the inside, it can also connect many, many planets, young and old. Why? To help keep them alive with possibilities and opportunities for energetic growth and creative expansion. As I mentioned at the very start of this book, Myriad goes everywhere through all that is, from macro to micro, but seeing its intrinsic makeup internally of Earth and to its connection to other planets was a staggeringly beautiful new aspect for me. Myriad is a critical component of Earth's makeup that has not been understood until now. It keeps trees alive, it keeps the seasons circulating, it helps keep everything in place, including Earth's positioning and proximity to our moon and sun. It is that vital. It helps trigger the blooming and blossoming of plants and trees. It helps nature on our planet to thrive. In fact, Myriad inside of Earth is more dense than anywhere else across all that is, which also demonstrates just how important Earth is to all that is, to our solar system, to our universes and multiverses. Earth is focal. If we were able to step back far enough to take in a bird's eye view of our multiverse, the incredible Myriad system within Earth would shine the brightest. And so why is Myriad so rich here? Because Earth is all about desire, creation and new possibilities. This is so much of what our total energy here is made up of. It drives us forward and simultaneously spurs expansion and growth across all that is. Earth is the most important planet in universe from this aspect. We are surrounded by immense creation here on our planet. You need only look around you right in this moment to see how much humans create on Earth. God's energy also runs intrinsically through Myriad on Earth, bringing yet again more creational potency here on our home planet. Earth is a true heartbeat among all that is that helps to keep overall expansion very much alive and progressive. And where in the early chapter 3 of this book we talked about Myriad harbouring sequencing to keep energetic sequences in place and continuous, this is what Myriad does on a mass scale for Earth. Myriad is truly and simply put, energetically staggering and stunning. It can be viewed as an intrinsic heartbeat to everything. It is that important. And because it is most potent within Earth, Earth is critical to all that is, and so too, this is why domain is now accessible here on our planet first before any other. And so now we can understand that Myriad and Earth together are a powerful and critical duo for all that is. And therefore we can also relish in how lucky we are that we get to experience our physical lives here on this planet at this pivotal time. But of course, it's not by chance. We all asked for it to be so for us. Domain and Myriad can help all parts of our multiverses, but consider us and Earth as the main hub of their output and expansion from this point forwards. Energy and energetics are simply awesome. Hi, Emily, darling. Okay, sequence mapping. Again, this was another mind-blowing moment when I received this. Okay, so there is an incredible form of sequencing use in non-physical, which is used to help create planets and universes. It's called sequence mapping and again has not been understood until now. Sequence mapping utilises and takes energetic advantage of the very real energy of magic. Over time, those that work with us and domain will be able to use this type of sequencing in physical here on Earth for even more incredible change and transformation. But for now, let us explain how sequence mapping works in non-physical. To help encapsulate this in the easiest way, think of yourself plotting a big map of all sequencing. Say you are wanting to help God to create a universe from your non-physical stance. Sequence mapping would help to plot this all out and create it. It is that big. And what is really awesome is that it has a very clever, almost copy and paste type function. It can be used to copy all sequencing from one universe or planet, which can then be tweaked and refined to make a new universe being created unique and special and different to others before it is pasted into the chosen location. This is a very high level explanation of something that is an energy sequencing phenomena, but it does help us to understand such an extraordinary feat at an easier to comprehend level. This is sensational to try and visualize, but this is very much how sequence mapping is used smartly in non-physical. Via sequence mapping, one can also read this map in any area of our multiverses. It is key to note that sequence mapping occurs within and is relevant to our multiverses only, but not beyond. Sequence mapping can help with giant domain sequence gathering that will, in the future, be able to benefit us too on Earth. At the time of writing this, I have not yet come to use sequence mapping myself, and it is most certainly not something that is for everyday use. It is very special. But there will be times that it will be relevant to and for our incredible Earth over the decades that follow as we advance and do more and more with domain and creation and sequencing. What I have been shown with sequence mapping is that it could, in the future, draw from a whole area or other planet, for example, and almost copy and paste it to Earth after some adjustments and adaptation. As another example, we could copy sequencing from a thriving part of the Amazon rainforest, perhaps from the past before mass deforestation started, and then edit and refine it as guided by domain before then pasting it over the parts of the Amazon rainforest today that we want to help to regrow faster. Sequence mapping is big and we will need to be energetically ready for it, but how super exciting and revolutionary once again. I have also been shown how we can use sequence mapping to aid the copy and paste spread of new sequencing to stop the ongoing cycle of malaria. Further to chapter 11, we could use sequence mapping to copy what we have already been shown is possible in Uganda and refine and apply it to other big malaria-prone locations. Why is this different to mass sequencing and broad sequencing that we have previously discussed? Because sequence mapping draws from huge spaces and areas of plotted sequencing for us to recreate and share on and across Earth. And it's how God creates. It also facilitates speed, output, and energy efficiency. Sequence mapping is another aspect of how advanced and leading edge we can become in our use of domain over time, and it is a term to most certainly watch out for as we continue to take domain forwards. Sequence mapping is a precious subject to start to understand and ultimately have access to for use ourselves on Earth at the right time in the future as we become energetically greater and greater with domain. And although the notion of sequence mapping may feel out of this world, it will be another natural evolution of how we use domain on Earth over the coming decades and centuries. Woman and man are extraordinary, and as such we are set to become even more so as we start to utilise and achieve such wondrous creational feats through domain. So again, another sort of breathtaking chapter there in terms of being shown what is possible with domain in the future. Sequence mapping. This is how God creates. We can bring incredible change to Earth through this that's wanted and harmonious for all. And so something that will open up at the right time. So really, really wondrous in this further spectacular section of this book. Okay, doesn't it feel amazing, freeing even, to open our minds in such a broad way? The thermal layer and others. So again, another wondrous couple of chapters. So get comfy. The thermal layer is a fairly new non-physical energy layer surrounding our Earth, and it is here to support us physical humans as we work with domain. Because it is non-physical, it cannot be seen by the naked human eye at this time, nor can it yet be detected by the man-made machines that we currently use. Whereas gravity and subjects such as air pressure and density can be measured, this thermal layer cannot be yet. But for those who are trained in working with domain and non-physical energy, the thermal layer is very real and absolutely there. When I first received this name, thermal layer, I did keep questioning it myself, as it was once again something wondrous and completely new to me. In your mind's eye, if you imagine, you will see the thermal layer like a gaseous and so transparent, warm, yellow energy, such as the name thermal might conjure up, that reaches from the ground all around the world up to the sky. We give you this visual encapsulation in a high-level way to help you to more easily feel and visualise. Energetics do not need to be understood in a complex way for us to use them. Over time with domain, this new thermal layer can help us to rebalance Earth's climate and temperatures where required as we come to understand more about it and do more with it. But it can do a lot more than that also. It can help with many day-to-day things such as physical and emotional healing. In fact, as you become more and more adept and confident with domain, this thermal layer will work in an unlimited amount of ways. What I myself have discovered so far is literally just the beginning. I have used it recently when domain has taken me to it to help with 2 cases of helping others to feel better and to feel calmer. And I have been shown that it can be used on a much vaster scale than just on an individual human by human basis also. But there is more. A big part of the thermal layer's magic lies within its combining and co-creating with 3 other non-physical energy layers. So in the book, we have a diagram. So the yellow layer here is the thermal layer that we're referring to. Now we're going to just read about the mist layer, which is this green layer that runs through the centre of the thermal layer. So the mist layer, in the mind's eye, this non-physical energy layer runs right through the centre of the thermal layer, like a ring, as the thermal layer circumferences our Earth. The mist layer is mint green in colour and more dense and less transparent through the mind's eye, and it connects to and supports our planet's rain and precipitation. Wow. When I received that, I was like, oh my goodness. Again, this can be used to help us regulate our climate on a global scale, but it can also be used in tandem with the thermal layer. And so, what are the other 2 layers? So the turbosphere, which is this blue layer, whoops, let me move it in the right way, is what we'll talk about first, the turbosphere. The turbosphere is a bright royal blue in colour when seeing it non-physically in the mind's eye, and this layer helps and supports the Earth's rotation. This layer has been here for a much longer time than the thermal and mist layers, but can now be used in conjunction with them and domain. And then the isosphere, which is this red layer, the final layer that we're talking about. The isosphere, if you imagine it in your mind's eye, is bright red in colour, almost like a postbox red. This layer helps and plays part non-physically in the Earth's orbiting around the sun. And just like the turbosphere, this has been around for a lot longer, but can work unlimited magic and wonders alongside the thermal layer, mist layer, and turbosphere, as well as, of course, domain. These layers have their kind of functions around what they can do in terms of climate or Earth rotation and that type of thing, but they also work with the energy of magic. So this is the really kind of exciting bit, or additional exciting bit, to feel the truth of as well, because this again is quite mind-blowing. Domain often brings through things that are utterly mind-blowing and wondrous. So this is one example. So these layers work with the energy of magic, which we have already introduced you to in this book. And so the thing here, which we've kind of already said, the thing here is to not go up into your head and to try and think and work this out. One can never work out the way that magic works, otherwise it would not be the energy of magic. This is an important and critical point when it comes to the clever energy of magic. We only need to accept that it is there and helping. But what we can do is set ourselves free in this knowledge that these layers exist and are very much here now to aid us. And so how do they work together? You may have noted that these largest layers, the thermal layer yellow, turbosphere blue, and isosphere red, are primary colours. And via magic, just like primary colours can be mixed to make other colours, these layers can blend and mix to make different energetic magic and output occur. This is fascinating. And so when we humans work with them, they can produce endless energy makeups and recipes to help us to create new. My first experience of using these layers was when I went to Domain asking what it could do to help me to help someone who was unwell, even though it was unclear what was causing them to be this way. I was shown various colours as these layers magically blended in order to do different things. The thermal layer on its own was used to relax this person's head and also to hydrate as their hairline was dry and itchy. I hadn't seen this in person physically myself, but their relative told me the symptom was correct. I was shown the turbosphere blue layer to help their eyes to feel more revitalised and hydrated. I was shown other colours also, such as the red isosphere layer to help with this person's insides and intestines, and then I started to see other colours such as pink. As the layers sequencing magically blended and combined, this pink was to help this person's stomach, in particular their natural bacteria, to rebuild and prompt their appetite. It was so wondrous to experience and see these layers work in this way for the first time. But what if we could do even more and take this even further? So what we mean by this is, rather than me just helping someone who is unable to help themselves, what if every person could powerfully help themselves? This is ultimate freedom, correct? Well, this is also what we're starting to witness, because as we continue to work with Domain, what has started to occur is that humans are starting to become their own Myriad hotspots. So here's a little bit about Myriad, physical human Myriad hotspots. To become a physical human Myriad hotspot means that energetically your own body carries immense Myriad energy and capability within it to support everything that you do with Domain, including working with these energy layers. It also means that when you come together with another physical human Myriad hotspot, what you can achieve together is magnificent beyond words. A recent example I have of this is when 3 physical human Myriad hotspots, myself and 2 others, came together. Well, out of the 3 of us, 1 was suffering with emotional trauma around their jaw and also physical pain. As the 3 of us worked together, Domain showed us its magic by leveraging all of our Myriad hotspot energy and utilising the layers also. Virtually instantaneously, the pain that this person was experiencing lessened right down to a 20%, and held that way for several days. Plus, there was much more sequencing that Domain flowed to us, as well as magic from these coloured layers to support them on the emotional front too. What was extraordinary to witness in this instance was the sheer speed of the change that took place, precisely because we were also expanded and energised with Domain and therefore Myriad energy ourselves, because we were Myriad hotspots in our own rights. So to help every person to become a physical human Myriad hotspot is part of what we want to achieve ultimately. I will talk some more about this in chapter 26, but first I want to introduce you to another extraordinary and revolutionary energy, and this is what is happening. Those that are doing the Domain Immersion Live experience have become Myriad hotspots. Those that are doing one-to-one work are becoming Myriad hotspots. Those that are really energising with Domain through the School of Domain Energetics. Those that are coming to the Domain event next August. If you're not already physical human Myriad hotspots, you will be from the event, is what I'm being told. That's not even written on the website, but just so you know. So we're doing everything we can to help people get to Myriad hotspot status in their physical body as quickly as possible, because it's phenomenal. But more to come on that in a second. We just want to introduce you to another incredible new energy. So we're truly only getting started. What we're about to witness as a human race is quite simply out of this world. So meta energy, oh my goodness. Okay, so this is another astonishing non-physical new energy now available on our earth to aid us, and it's this blue, if you can see there, if I can get close enough, you've got my nail blue clashing as well. It's that blue line just going around the outside of earth is highlighting meta energy on the diagram that we put together. So again, at this moment in time, it cannot be detected physically, but it is there and has achieved some astonishing things with healing already with Domain in the short time that I've been using it since discovering it. And it isn't just me who has witnessed what it can do. Others have been working alongside me with Domain, and they have witnessed its impact also. Meta energy has been available in other parts of our universe and multiverse, but has remained in the main unused. But again, because of our use of domain, Meta's natural arrival for us to access now on Earth has been the right time, all perfectly designed for us. Once again, how loving. So far, I've used this meta energy myself to help with immense healing, even helping someone to come out of hospital who was considered unlikely to. It was only 2 days after helping this person with meta energy that they returned home. Another person was really struggling with whiplash after a car accident, and when they themselves connected to domain, they were given meta energy to support, and their symptoms miraculously ceased permanently. And I wasn't involved in that, just to highlight that. They used meta energy themselves. I didn't even get involved. That was them, and the symptoms just stopped, okay? So it's massive what it can do. The best way that I can describe meta energy is to think of it like an ambient blue lighting, almost like one might imagine ultraviolet lighting, but bright blue. It has a beautiful glow about it when seeing it in the mind's eye. Just to say, if anyone of you is asking questions or commenting whilst you're watching, I will log on in a second just to see, because I cannot see comments on my phone when I'm doing these lives. So just in case anything's coming through, I will answer any questions you might have at the end. Okay. So yes, the arrival of this energy on Earth now once again demonstrates the type of new that domain is opening up and creating that is harmonious for all. There is nothing to fear. This non-physical energy, meta, has occurred as a natural part of our planet's evolution and our expansion energetically as physical humans. In fact, there are many, many other energies on our Earth that are non-physical that have arrived and become present here at the right time to aid our growth forward. It's just they weren't consciously known of or understood. Maybe you yourself, as you work with domain, will uncover some of them. And this is what's starting to happen for some that are working with myself and domain through the School of Energetics, whether it's in a group or one-to-one format. They're starting to uncover some new fascinating energies and layers, okay, and even creating some, because domain's all about creation. So it is wondrous to know that domain played a part in the creation of all of these layers and energies too, from a non-physical arena. The difference today, however, is that domain can now be used and leveraged for our physical footing. And this makes opportunities for us humans endless, always with positive outcome and never any negative downside or effect elsewhere. We are here to expand and grow and to develop and do more always, particularly on our planet where the drive for new learning, discoveries, expansion and creation is paramount, because it is the most prominent part of our earthbound physical human soul design. It is innately within us humans on Earth to create and expand. And so, whereas in the past non-physical energies have arrived and been created without our awareness, now as we become the perfect balance of fully using our physical and also non-physical energetic sides, we can start to uncover them and find out more about them. Again, so much here to feel good about, to be reassured over. We're not here by chance, floating around without a purpose, with no meaning or support. Rather, the truth is the complete opposite. We're here to create, and so to energetically expand ourselves, our planet, our universe, our multiverses, and all that is critical. So although some of what we introduce you to here might stretch your mind and imagination and might make you want to scratch your head a bit, it is right time to introduce you to these understandings and energies. For it is most certainly not for me to keep these discoveries to myself when they can help us all. They are here to be shared and then so to be used by everyone through love. And so hopefully as you're feeling more now than ever before, there's always more with domain. How refreshing, how comforting and relieving that this will be to so many. With your physical and energetic aspects all working together, you will feel the truth of who you really are and what you can really do. We are only just warming up. So, physical human Myriad hotspots. I introduced physical human Myriad hotspots in chapter 24, but this is such a huge moment for physical humans on Earth, because for us to be able to start to attain this exceptional level of energetic capacity is no small feat. This is why I'm here not just to talk about domain from a pedestal or stage, Rather, I want to help as many people who are wanting to work with domain directly themselves so that they can reach Myriad hotspot status energetically also, for it opens up even greater potential. For as we each become agile in our own domain use, over time more and more of us will become physical human Myriad hotspots, which means that we will more quickly be able to achieve the extraordinary in an ongoing and perpetual way with domain. What has been fascinating to receive is that those I have been working with throughout October 2023 to September 2024, the 11 other domain leaders, have themselves attained physical human Myriad hotspot energetic status, as I previously mentioned, and this naturally occurred when all of our energy was ready. And like I said, it's one thing to help another person, place, community, nature object and or animal, but it's an entirely different ballgame when doing this with another place, community, nature object and or animal who have become Myriad hotspots themselves. What does it feel like to be a physical human Myriad hotspot? It doesn't feel wildly different in your day-to-day, but you will notice that when you tap into domain yourself and with other Myriad hotspots for help with anything, you will with ease witness far greater results and a greater progression towards the outcomes that you are wanting. You will naturally emit such a powerful energetic knowing from within you that rather than thinking, can I, you instead shift into I can. And this is such a powerful place to get to as a domain energetics user. The reason that Myriad was able to change the mosquito larvae in the way that we were shown when we did the read through last week, as spoken of in chapter 11, is because of the Ugandan rainforest Myriad hotspot combined with myself and another person who too are Myriad hotspots. This created a three-way powerhouse energy configuration. Domain is so powerful when used by us physical humans on this earth. We can leverage domain energy in a way that non-physical cannot. And it is our physical human body containers when housing our own Myriad hotspots that make what is possible with domain ever more so revolutionary and prolific. With physical human Myriad hotspot energetic status, you become more confident in your prowess and of course witness more results with domain than ever before. The Egyptians, which we've spoken of several times throughout this book, were themselves two Myriad hotspots, which is why they achieved so much and why they took Myriad to such awesome heights. Now what we will continue to see and witness over the coming years and decades is a surpassing of where the Egyptians took Myriad. This is truly lift-off time in the most loving, harmonious and magical of ways for every human that wants to energize domain enough to reach this level of energetic capacity. And the School of Domain Energetics at sarahmorganglobal.com will be helping as many people as we can to get to that Myriad hotspot energetic status as quickly as they can, and then to continue to soar and excel beyond this. Where Neil Armstrong once exclaimed, "One small step for man, one giant step for mankind," with Myriad hotspots in the physical human form, this is one huge step for humans and all that is. What a way to be and live, feeling your sheer energetic power in this way to aid and complement your physical life. And remember, domain is harmonious for all. Only good and love can and must arise from Myriad, just like domain, and only those who are truly high vibration and loving will be able to work Myriad and domain and achieve Myriad hotspot energetic status in this way. But I also like to look ahead to the day when that will become everyone. For that time will come, even if it's well after my own physical human lifetime here on earth. And when that time, it's making me a bit emotional, when that time does arrive and materialise, I assure you that I will be doing a very excited happy dance from my non-physical stance, and that I'll be so grateful for this book and all of its early readers, i.e. you precious souls, who came to it with open minds and hearts and who too became the early adopters and pioneers of domain. Oh, I can see a comment. This is good. Okay, Emily's saying, I love the fact that all our Myriad hotspots are as individual as we are. Definitely, Emily. And again, this is a whole area of wonder to be explored that, again, we've only sort of just scratched the surface on, but they really are. Our reason for using them are so individual too, totally. So again, just such a beautiful area to explore for those of you that are already Myriad hotspots, or as you become Myriad hotspots in the physical form over time. That's just a whole pool of wonder to explore as well. So thank you for that comment, Emily. It's so, so true. So human potential is supersizing like never ever witnessed before on this planet, which is very exciting. Okay, so on to the Believe in Magic section. We've got time. We've got about 10 minutes or so, I believe. So let's start. So this section is just a really lovely section that's got a very different feel to the other sections in the book to help just the magic to flow in you and to help feel the wonderful energies that flow around through and support Domain and Myriad. There's just a lot of energy in these chapters. Some of you, whilst reading this section, if you aren't already, will awaken, and you will definitely advance energetically. If you're already awakened, there's just so much magic in this particular section is what I'm being told. So really enjoy these flows, okay? So, birds. As I sit here eager, I'm being brought to the important truth that our birds are pivotal for us humans and our planet. And it goes beyond pollination that both birds and insects play a vital role in. They are incredible animals that are so deeply connected to the rhythm of our earth, its seasons and climates. Imagine how dull our world would be without birds. During my own awakening, I was at moments enthralled and engulfed in the rapture and wonder of a bird flying overhead past me. Our skies would not be alive in the way that they are without birds. Birds bring a whole physical and energetic dimension to our world and everyday lives. Seeing them and also hearing them. Just consider how quiet and dull our world would appear without music, and without the music and the soundtrack of birds and their chirping. They too provide and share a rhythm with us humans. They chime with the sun as it rises and they chirp as it sets. In this we are cued to wake up or to wind down from the day. They feed off the plants and nature and other wildlife around us, and indeed they are part of the food chain themselves and the infinite circle of life here. Without birds, our planet would not thrive. And so birds are too magical. And I think everyone can feel potentially the truth of that. Birds are magical. There is a very real and true use of the energy of magic by them. They can encourage us to stop and be present, whether it is watching an eagle soar under the sun, a heron dive for a fish, a flamboyance of flamingos, a running ostrich, to a tiny everyday robin or sparrow. Birds are everywhere, even in cities and over the sea. They help keep us regulated and in rhythm. They show that life goes on as it must, no matter what. We delight in them. Birds are exceptional. Don't live a day without noticing birds. Magic is everywhere. Look and believe. Hi, Rita, darling. Okay, cherry blossom. So if you ever feel disconnected from the magic that exists on our earth, if you ever feel a moment of disbelief, think of the cherry blossom tree. How it blooms and bursts to life just at the perfect moment every year in accordance with the seasons. Oh, it's a bit emotional. The build-up and anticipation towards this. How we watch and wait for the cherry blossom buds to emerge and then grow and fill, ready for the point of blooming and bursting open. How we can never pinpoint the exact date or the moment exactly each year, but that day that we see the first buds beginning to open up is always a tantalising one, building up our anticipation for more. And then the symphony of ongoing bud blooming that ensues for the next 2 or so weeks. Each day seeing that cherry blossom tree become more and more filled with vibrant cherry blossom. The colours, the textures, birthing new life, signalling that the spring is here and in full flow. until we reach the entire full and peak bloom, maximum bloom, where each blossomed bud exudes voluptuous, sumptuous, and seemingly endless blossoming velvety petals. The weight of each full bloom's heaviness tugging down on the branches as they bounce in the breeze. Oh, a lot of energy. And then the first petals start to drop to the ground. A pink carpet of cherry blossom starts to build. Pink snow effect all around that gets invariably traipsed into the house and through the carpets. A little annoying perhaps at first, but we can also see this as the magic of nature creeping into our home for a bit, extending its reach. The more and more the blossom falls, the more now that the bright and big leaves start to emerge, until this tree is in full leaf now for the summer months, offering a home to the local birds and shade to us humans and animals too, as the summer days extend and the heat builds and peaks. The blossom petals have fed the ground, as the leaves will do when they too drop at the end of the summer season, but first they see the summer through. The alive and buzzing summer, the long, sunny insect and butterfly-rich days. This tree, oh my gosh, sorry, there's so much energy in this chapter. I'm like, calm the farm. Thanks, Rita. Okay, so the tree has many gatherings, talks. Okay, so I'm just finding out what's going on here. God's saying that this chapter is perfectly highlighting the interconnectedness and importance of everything. A lot of love from God. This is for all of you watching live on replay or years down the line. So if you think about, some people may just walk past a blossom tree and not see it. And we talk about seeing Sali. We'll be reading that chapter in a moment. But when you work with domain, you kind of see, and that tree that someone might just walk past and not necessarily notice, is so intrinsic to the domain circle of love. And you know, the love that exudes around the world and beyond, it's one tree is so intrinsic, like we each are so intrinsic, like everything is so intrinsic, which is why domain is for all. We say it is for all. So that's what's going on here, the massive flows of love that are occurring through this chapter. Right, get a grip, Sarah. Okay. Okay, so then as the autumn approaches and the leaves now quickly fall, it goes into its rest period for the winter, knowing always though that the yearly cycle will follow again and again and again. The cherry blossom tree, evidence of perfect magic and perfect creation. The depth and breadth of its cycles are so loving, reassuring that life continues forward, that growth and expansion continues always, and that there is always more. The cherry blossom tree, a spectacle to admire, and this is just one tree in one place. There are trillions more. This is the magnitude of life. Emily's saying the more we notice nature, the more we love what this world has to offer us, definitely, and the more we value it and want to just treasure it. It's the most spectacular creation, and to have that connection each day in this way is just a beautiful thing. Right, cherish what surrounds you. Perfect timing. Okay, C. Again, this is a really beautiful chapter. Okay, short but beautiful, to just feel the energy of the words. C, written in capitals, okay? Sali, Earth's consciousness, wants us to really see. For a day without seeing is a day missed. And many, sadly, don't see. They're either too busy, too hectic, or perhaps too sad. But there is truth in that nature soothes. When we see our planet around us, when we feel its consciousness that is Sali, we feel a part of it all. Exactly like you sort of just witnessed just now, and the emotion that was coming through that chapter, because you feel a part of it all. We feel connected. We actually feel intrinsic. And this is how it is supposed to be. We're not meant to be walking around on this earth caught up in our own small worlds, almost in isolation. We're here to participate fully in something that is so wondrous and beauty rich, our earth. To see Sali, to see what is around us, to live in a new way, a way that feels wide reaching and vast and utterly fulfilling. As you see widely, entirely, your energy reaches widely and entirely, and you feel exhilarated and lifted. The penny drops, the missing pieces now fill in and land, and you start to feel whole. You suddenly now get why you're here and why you chose to be here on Earth. So many ask, why are we here? What is the point? Okay. So you feel the importance and preciousness of your short but very significant physical human time here. And you start to engage with Earth, our home, and what is around you. You start to now see most days and many more days than before. And if you really love our Earth, you'll start to see every day. You will start to drink it up, dine out on it, satiate in it. See the stars, see the sky, see the clouds, see the land around us, see nature around us, see you, see those you love. For we are all part of Sali's rich makeup. Without each and every one of us and without each and everything, this earth would not be quite the same. We are here to participate. We are here to feel a part of Earth. We're here to realise and feel and exude our connection to Earth. This is part and parcel of utopious living, to see. Okay, take it all in and feel exhilarated, truly alive. I'm going to keep going, I'm being told, just to the end of this chapter because it's not actually that long. So we're going to get, section is not that long, so we're going to run a little bit longer today. Okay, suddenly the penny drops. One day I woke up and I got it. I got it more than I ever got it before. The penny dropped, and now wide open I saw the door. There is no more glass ceiling, a maximum we can reach. Instead, endless possibilities, finally the truth of unleashed. No longer confined, and instead nowhere off limits. Domain and myriad together, in which we can rivet. I had always wondered what next for our world, and with domain at our side, what a future to unfurl. Now you know about domain, walk through that door. Okay, to think that there was a time that I didn't want to be here upon this earth, that I wanted to leave it. A thought that I am not the only one to have had. But the joy now that I feel when I look out of my window, when I walk my dog, when I meet and greet others, when I teach and share with others, when I experience that sunset, when I hear that bee, when I see the moon rise, when I watch the stars, when I breathe in the ocean, when I meet my partner's gaze, when I laugh at my dog, when I hug my father, when I video call my sister, when I reunite with my best friend, when I drive somewhere up high or low, populated or deserted, when I peruse the village shop, when I eat that fresh scone with clotted cream and jam, when I marvel at something magnificent on the television, when I ruminate on all that humankind has achieved, when I see parts of our world and multiverse that I have not seen before, when I stand on that grass, when I put on that raincoat, when I laugh, when I cry, when I feel and see. Now I feel and see, and so I want for every other human to truly do so too. My road is not complete. I am still on my journey, and of course there will be ups and there will be downs. This is the beauty and sheer tapestry of life on this physical earth. But to think that I used to not want to be here, that blows my mind. Now I want to make the very most of my precious time here on this physical planet, which is merely the blink of an eye in relation and comparison to our eternal non-physical lives. Domain really can help us to realise a vastly colourful way to live. Utopious living for all awaits. Okay, we belong. We belong together on this planet at this time. We did not stumble here by a whim, most definitely not. We came here with choice and purpose and intention. We intended to expand and grow. We intended to learn and advance. We are each on our own personal journey, but we are here in togetherness nonetheless. And in togetherness, we belong. Togetherness is what this world is truly about. We have lost our way with this a bit, but now we are refinding the path. Domain is about love and togetherness. The circle of love. many refer to the circle of life, but what of the circle of love? For it is everywhere with Domain. It is everywhere with Myriad. It is everywhere with Sali. It runs through all nature, all wildlife, all that is. It runs through and between universes and multiverses. It runs macro to micro. It weaves through all of the tapestry of life. It comes from God directly to all. It ever expands. There can never be too much or too little, nor will it ever cease. Love is everywhere and in everything. And final chapter of this section, and then we'll continue next week. You are magical. Okay, so magic is running through every single reader of this book. We didn't tell you this until now, but it is. Magic is everywhere, as you already know. It is paramount to Myriad and Domain, and it is also now paramount to you. Magic has always been here and around you, but as you have read these pages through, your energy is now embracing it fully. This is another wow moment right here for you, dear reader. The first of many, as we so hope you embark upon your own journey of discovery with Domain. Magic is always loving, by the way, just to be crystal clear. This is not witchcraft or any such hocus pocus. This is the real, true and immense high vibration of magic that your energy now feels. Magic is everywhere within this book and within you. Ancient civilizations knew, they believed. Very young children know and believe. As adults, we can remember and we can go on and do more than believe. We can feel and know and use. The miraculousness of a human coming into this world and into this life, the glorious cycle of life and the expansion of all that is, if that is not magic, then we're being blind. Magic is everywhere and you yourself are full of it. You, dear reader, are most definitely now magical. And with your own precious flows of the energy of magic, precisely because you have read this book, Domain and Myriad await you. Our world, what comes next? It's you. Okay, my love, so it's time to recognise you, just to bring this to an end, which we've written here, and then we will go on to the section next week, start to do. And also, if you've got your own copy of the book, there are exercises in the back of the book that you can do as well. There's also a Domain diary section. Now, obviously, if you have the black and white or colour printed version of the book, the diary section you can literally write in. If you have the Kindle version, you can get your own notepad to journal in also. But we will look at this starting to do section next week as well. And so thank you for all joining, whether it's live or on replay, now or in the future, wherever you are, whenever you're watching this. Thank you. It's been an absolutely joy to read this to you. Oh, you're so welcome, Rita darling. So lovely to have you here as always. Really have a wonderful, wonderful week. All of the replays of these read-alongs are on the Sarah Morgan Global website under the Domain Energetics book menu link. If you click on that link in the menu on the website, you'll see the page about the book, and at the top there's a link that gives you access to all of the replays, because we're keeping a library so that once we finish this read through, the content's always available for people to listen into and watch back at any time. So we love you so much. Have a beautiful week. And for those of you who want to join us live or on replay, we will share part 6 of the read along next week. We love you so much. Keep being awesome. Mwah.